It's a crime that impacts thousands of Canadians every year, intimate partner violence. Now there's a new campaign in York Region that aims to increase awareness about this critical issue. Our Faiza Amin was at today's announcement. Faiza, can you tell us more about the significance of this initiative?
Yeah, Melissa, such an important program being rolled out here in York Region, and you could see an example of this campaign right here. This is a bus and billboard campaign, and the hope is that it will raise awareness, I should say, and then also encourage victims and survivors to report. So the York Region Centre for Community Safety is a big partner here, and I want to bring in the executive director here, Jaspreet Gill. How big of a campaign is this?
This is huge. This is the first one of its kind. One of the things that we've noticed is that there aren't enough PSAs across the country, certainly across York Region, to address and highlight the prevalence of intimate partner violence.
So every year we heard York Regional Police respond to more than 6,000 incidents related to intimate partner violence. In nearly 2,000 of those cases, charges are laid. But we also heard that this is something that's chronically underreported. Why is that?
There are many reasons for that, but one of the reasons is just the very nature of intimate partner violence and coercive control that makes it difficult for survivors to even recognize the kind of situation that they're in, to be able to label it as abuse and then hence reach out for supports. And when we're talking about survivors with intersectional identities, those who are newcomer, immigrant women, women of color, the barriers to stepping forward and accessing help are even more difficult for them.
You talked a little bit about part of the campaign and the work that you've been doing for years now, removing that burden from victims and survivors, especially when it comes to reporting. What does that approach look like?
So when a survivor reports and gets into the system, she ends up having to repeat her story every time she accesses a service. So to the police, to every social service provider, to the Children's Aid Society. So what we do at YRCCS is that we're one centralized intake, one location. So a survivor tells us her story, just the once, and then when we connect her to the services that she needs, we're sharing all of that information so that she doesn't have to share it and repeat it, because that's re-victimizing and re-traumatizing for a survivor.
And I want to also touch on how this isn't, a linear process. Every case doesn't look the same, and in some cases it could take somebody longer to leave. How important is it to make sure that the approach here is tailored to the victim and survivor?
That's such a great observation and the truth. That's certainly what we do. We recognize that every individual situation and circumstances are different. So we tailor our interventions to what she needs. And sometimes what she needs is to say, I'm not ready, not now. And that's fine. And what we do, what any of us can do, is say, you're not alone and you're not to blame for what you're experiencing. And that we're here whenever you're ready to move forward in whatever way that looks like.
What have you seen the last few years during COVID, after COVID, when it comes to how many people need your help out there? And if that number is growing, do you have the funding needed to continue the work you do?
Thank you for that question, Faiza. Our numbers increased, like many others, by over 20% when COVID hit. And even before COVID, we were seeing an increase in 2019. And a really sad observation is that the frequency and intensity of abuse during COVID has increased exponentially. And just because COVID or the pandemic has ended, we cannot think, and I don't want anyone to think that this is over. We're seeing all of that come to the surface now. And for us, well, the hope is that people will come to us and that we can continue to provide these services. I'm looking for that, core funding, and hoping that the province will support YRCCS with that.
Okay, Jaspreet, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. You heard our conversation about funding right there. Just recently, the federal government released its National Action Plan on Gender-Based Violence in Ontario, rolling out millions of dollars to service providers, and many of these service providers, including right here in York Region, are hoping to be on that list. And Melissa, this is a 3-month campaign. This one here behind me, the number is laid out here not only for victims and survivors, but there are many people across Canada who know someone who needs this help. So this number will be available for everybody to take down. And so police saying that this is a 3-month campaign, and they'll know that it's working when they are seeing this increase in reporting coming into their headquarters.
All right, so that message going out on billboards and on bus ads, an important message on intimate partner violence in York Region. Faiza Amin, I understand you're going to have more of this tonight at 5:30, at 5 and 6 on City News.
Thank you.